So, hello everyone, my name is Rørbæk, and I'm a researcher in a research center called DREAM, located at Rørbæk University. And I'll tell you a little bit about a research project that I'm working on at the moment with some of my colleagues, Christian Mortensen, Ditte Larsen, Kim Christian Schrøder, and Olof Danielsen, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. But our research project is called Patterns of Interaction, and it is work in progress, so I'll just show you some of our initial results. And what we want to do with this project is to explore the institutional communication of museums on Facebook by taking a microscopic view on how museums construct status updates. The reason why museums use Facebook is that it could be seen as a golden opportunity to engage with the public. And according to Facebook, 1 billion monthly users are at Facebook. So there are potentially a lot of users to engage with. And at least 50% of Danish museums are on Facebook. But it can be very challenging because Facebook as a medium was developed for interpersonal communication, and museums are of course communicating institutionally. So we wanted to look at how this communication takes place. And we did that by looking at the Facebook status updates from 9 Danish museums. We looked at 165 status updates in total from the period February 1st to March 31st, 2013. And the 9 museums, we picked different 9 museums, 9 different museums, sorry, in relation to size and topic. So we have 3 art museums, 3 cultural historic museums, and 3 national historic museums. And in each of these groups, there are different sizes. So we have a large museum, a medium-sized museum, and a smaller museum in terms of number of visitors and number of likes. And then we looked at all these 165 status updates in terms of speech act categorization. And I'll just quickly run through these categorizations so you know what I'm talking about. First we have directives, which are used by the sender to get the receiver to do something. Then we have the assertives, as a statement of fact, getting the viewer to form or attend a belief. Then we have the expressive, where the sender expresses feeling toward, but though not necessarily about the receiver. We have the quotative, where the message is not originally produced by the sender. Then there are the declaratives that change the reality in accord with the proposition of the declaration, for example, pronouncing someone husband and wife. Then we have commissives, where the sender commits himself to do something. And here's what we found out. So we had 165 status updates in total, and there were these updates were primarily constructed by directive speech act. So that's the green part of this circle. Then there were 64 assertives, the orange part. There were 17 expressives, the red one. There were 8 quotative, the blue one, and 1 declarative, no commissives. And I'll not go in details with the difference between these museums, but I will tell you a little bit more about how these speech acts are used communicatively, focusing on the 3 most used ones. So the directives are used as an invitation to act or to interact. For example, we see invitations to experience something at the physical museum or to receive additional information from internal or external source. So, for example, Gideon's Museum, right, you can also participate in winter holiday activities this week. And then we have examples on request for participation, assistance or contribution to try to get the users to interact. For example, the National Museum of Denmark, right, we have a photo that Church Thomas thinks maybe a juggle of a hospital or the like. Is there anyone with local historical knowledge that can help and is ready for a round of church spotting? Yeah, so the directives are used as invitation to act or to interact. Then we have the assertives, which is information motivated by museum agenda or public agenda. So it can be information about what goes on at the museum, about new exhibitions, or the uniqueness, details, the special features of artifacts or exhibitions. For example, the Natural Historic Museum writes, today the exhibition Flora Danke open to the public at the Geological Museum. Then we also have examples on information motivated by the agenda of public space. For example, this one. Today is the International Women's Day. We have lots of articles and photos showing women's history, such as the girl here celebrating the liberation of Denmark, and then there's a picture. So the assertives are used either for information motivated by the museum agenda or the public agenda. And then we have the expressives that are used to share on a more personal level, you could say. It's typically enjoyment of exhibitions or other activities. Hopes are expressed, readings and personal reflection. For example, Rørbæk Museum writes, a day like today, with sharp spring sunshine, I come to think of Fritz Syberg's painting, The First Day of Spring, Anna Syberg and her son Ernst, from 1910. Spring, dazzling sunshine and crisp fresh air. Have a nice day. So, what we did was that we compared our study with a study made in 2012 by Karlsruhe and Goldman, where they analyzed 204 status messages of interpersonal communication on Facebook. And what they found was that the status messages were most frequently constructed with expressive speech act followed by assertives. And remember, we saw that there were most directive speech acts. Also, they found that humor was integrated in almost 20% of stated messages. And we also saw some humor, but not so much as 20%. Yeah, but this different might actually not be so surprising because, as I said in the beginning, the reason why museums actually use Facebook is to engage with the public, and you could say that these directives appear to be the most direct way to actually try to engage, to get the users to do something. It's invitations to act or interact. But though they don't necessarily is the best way or the only way to do it. But we actually haven't looked so much at how the users respond yet, so we want to add, of course, the users to this equation, and we'll do some analysis of a selection of threads displaying interaction between the museums and users. For example, looking at how the users respond to the updates and when they respond, what happens when users actually initiate interaction, and, well, generally trying to answer our title, what is the patterns of interaction. Yeah, so that was basically what I had to say, and if you have any ideas of what we should look at, please come and tell me, and yeah, I'd love to discuss this further.
Thank you.